Okay, so you're ready to be a homeowner and you're looking to buy your first house. What do? How do you start? How do you conduct yourself in this process, right? I'm gonna give you 5 tips to help you be successful when you're buying your home for the first time, so stick around. All right, so my name is Glenice Johnson, and I am an artist and a realtor in the Birmingham area. So let's get right into it. I've got notes here, so I'm probably gonna be looking down a couple of times just to make sure I'm giving everything that I have prepared here today. I wanna make sure I get it all out. Okay, so let's just jump right into it. 5 tips. Tip number 1, get pre-approved. When multiple videos from now, you're gonna hear me say this probably over and over again because it's so important. This is the first thing you need to do before you do anything else. Get pre-approved, right? So pre-approval basically is your proof of funds when you're making an offer to a seller. It lets that seller know you can most certainly purchase this house for real because you've been co-signed by a lending company that's letting them know, hey, they are good and they have the credit status for us to be able to lend them this money so they can purchase this home from you, right? So it's your proof of funds. You know, you can't really make an offer without it. So second part of that is that it sets your budget so that you're not running around looking at houses that you cannot afford. That is a waste of your time, and it can be very, very draining after a long while. So it keeps you in the framework of what you can actually afford, and then you can start searching based on that number so that you don't fall in love with a house and you find out you can't really afford it. And then lastly, and I think I've said this already, that you can't really make an offer without it. A lot of times, you know, an agent won't really start showing you houses until you're pre-approved, right? And so, and they'll ask you, if you get connected with an agent or if you start the process, an agent's gonna ask you, okay, are you pre-approved? Not to be rude or anything, they're not gonna be like, okay, go get pre-approved and then come back to me. No, they're not gonna do that. That's gonna help them figure out what the next step is. And of course, most agents are gonna connect you with the lender so that you can start that process of pre-approval. So essentially, yes, you cannot make an offer without it. It's no point in not having it. It's the very first thing you need to do before you do anything else is get pre-approved. All right, tip number 2. Tip number 2, make a wish list with deal breakers, okay? So you're making a wish list with deal breakers, meaning you're figuring out where you wanna be, how many rooms, how many bathrooms, school systems, is it fenced-in yard, is it, you know, how big, is it open floor plan? Is it 1 level, 2 levels? You need to make a wish list, all the things you want, and also have deal breakers. Have things that you cannot do at all, right? Deal breakers. So the reason we're gonna do that is because it kind of helps organize your search and kind of helps keep your mind organized when you're in this searching, trying to figure out which home you want to get, right? If you know exactly what you want, then that can help you or your agent to kind of put that search in, and you're narrowing down based on those filters, right? And you know, of course, this is kind of like duh, but a lot of times, you know, you get caught up with shopping for a home. It can be a very emotional process because you start seeing pictures and you're on Pinterest and you're on HGTV and you start seeing all of these, you know, images, and you start fantasizing, you start dreaming. You really need to figure out what exactly it is that you need and what it is you cannot deal with whatsoever. Like, it cannot be an open yard. I got a little kid, I needed to be fenced in. It cannot be in this area. It cannot be in the school district. Whatsoever those deal breakers are, know what they are, define them clearly, and have that set when you go shopping, when you start shopping. Also, it helps you save time. Of course, it helps you save time, and it's something. Time is crucial, especially in this market. And I may do a video on about, you know, the status of the market, how the market is doing right now. But for this market, you can't really waste time. So you really need to know exactly what it is that you want and what you're trying to pursue before you go shopping. That's not something you need to kind of peruse houses to kind of capture ideas. Really sit down and think about what it is that you really truly want and need so that you can save that time. And then lastly, of course, it prioritizes your needs. So like I said, this process can get really, really emotional. And so it's helpful to have maybe an agent that can help you pinpoint back to your needs, because you may get caught up seeing a house that looks amazing, but it's not in the school district you want. It's not in the area you want. It doesn't have the same amount of rooms that you wanted. It doesn't have the same, it has 2 stories and you need 1. Like, it's very, very easy to get caught up looking at houses and really just fall in love with a certain look. So it's really, really important to have your wish list. Remember what it is, remember what your deal breakers are, because that house you see somewhere on realtor.com or any other site that you're on could have a deal breaker that you can't even see until you get there. And so, you know, if you have an agent, they're going to kind of look through all the details and make sure it lines up with those deal breakers to kind of keep you on track, so we make sure you get exactly what it is that you're looking for, right? All right. So, tip number 3. Tip number 3. Save your money. Save your money. Save like your life depended on it. Save your money. I'm saying it multiple times because, oh my gosh, save your money, okay? I would say, and this may sound a little, but I would say at best, if you can push it to get into a really solid savings amount, about around 10,000, 10. That sounds like a lot. That sounds like a lot. And you may not even necessarily have to be at 10,000 to be able to get started, but from what I've experienced and what I've noticed, that seems like a really good number to kind of have in the pocket, right? Around 10,000. I know it feels like a lot, and I'm not saying that it has to be that number before you can start, but like, save as if you're trying to get to that number. Like, save aggressively. Reason being is that you have so many expenses just outside of the down payment. A lot of times I hear people say, oh, we're saving for the down payment, saving for the down payment. There's so many other expenses outside the down payment. There are inspections, there are your closing costs, there are earnest money that you may put up with the offer. There's so many other different things that you have to contribute to. And a lot of times in the market that we're in, it's very competitive between buyers. And so having a lot of money, having a good amount of money that you have to be able to make these expenses, because a lot of times when you're putting up an offer, you can have sellers contribute to certain expenses. They can pay a portion towards your closing costs. They can provide you a home warranty. They can pay for certain things throughout the contract. Great, they can. But if you want to have a competitive offer, a lot of times your ability to be able to fund a lot of these things on your own can really make the difference on whether or not your offer is attractive or not. And then considering that with the offer that you're sending, you're also maybe sending in something that's called earnest money, which I will talk about in another video. You know, you need to have a good chunk of money on hand, because it's just expensive in general to buy a house. You know, you are about to purchase something that's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. You know, you got to know that you're going to at least be, you know, dropping close to tens of thousands, you know, just at the table alone, just to pay for everything. And as far as closing costs, you think about, you know, you may ask, okay, what are closing costs? What goes into closing costs? That loan that you're getting in order to buy this house, it doesn't come free. You have to pay for it. And a lot of the fees are may be equivalent to a percentage of the price of the house. So 1 or 2% of like $100,000, that's $1,000 already, right? So I'm just trying to throw out numbers so you can kind of gauge of like how much money is starting to accumulate that you still have to pay out of pocket at the table. So again, I say all that to say, not to discourage, not to scare you, but just save. Make it the #1 priority in your financial endeavors when you're thinking about buying a home. If you got money on hand, a lot of, as far as, you know, programs that help with down payment and all those are great, and they can definitely be of resource, or being able to be eligible for a certain loan program that doesn't, you know, have you pay a down payment. These are great. However, from what I've found, the more money you have on hand to be able to fund this expensive endeavor, the better. The better it is for your agent to be able to negotiate for you, because you're not relying on the seller to pay so many things, especially when you're in a competitive situation and there could be somebody else who doesn't need the seller to pay their closing costs or doesn't need the seller to provide them a home warranty. Anytime that situation is between someone needing to buy something, needing the seller to pay for something, and someone who doesn't, think about if you're in that position. You're going to choose the path that doesn't require you to spend as much money in order to sell your home. So think about it from that perspective. So again, save. All right, next tip. Tip number 4. All right, do your research. Now, luckily for you, if you are watching this video, you already doing that. So you've already got this stuff. I'm just kidding. But doing things like this, watching videos like this, putting in search engines and looking up articles and things like that about what these concepts are, what these things entail, it's so important for your peace of mind. So Google is your friend. Google is your friend. If you don't know something, you don't know what something means, Google it. Bookmark these articles, read over them that are talking about different types of loans that are available and what mortgage lenders look for and tips about house hunting and things of that nature. Like, do your research, kind of being proactive and learning about this beforehand. That knowledge, that clarity, it is power and it is peace giving. So I would urge you, definitely do your research and just learn as much as you can about it before you jump in. All right, last tip. Tip number 5. Okay, get an agent. And I'm not just saying that because I'm an agent. I'm imploring, get an agent. So an agent is going to help you with all of the previous steps that I just mentioned, all the previous tips, probably aside from maybe saving your money. They're going to help you with all of those things. Getting pre-approved. It is our job as agents to be problem solvers and project managers. And so please know that we've probably got a few lenders, on deck that are already ready and willing to connect with you. We have inspectors, we have contacts for contractors and title companies. All the things that go into the transaction. There's so many different hands in the pot and so many entities at play, and it's our job to make that transition so as easy as possible for you. So a lot of times we go ahead and connect with those vendors and build relationship with them so that when you're looking for a certain particular person or particular vendor, we can connect them with you, of course, right? So in addition to that, your research is helpful and it's definitely peace giving and it can give you peace of mind and help you be a little bit more knowledgeable, but your realtor is going to know significantly more and they are going to have access to information that you're not going to readily see on the internet, right? Like, especially when it comes to just the nature of your house, when it comes, or the house that you're looking for, or when it comes to what kind of market that you're in, and how that can determine how you negotiate your deals. Speaking of negotiating your deals, you need an agent to negotiate on your behalf. Because when you go into a deal when you're purchasing such a large thing that costs so much, you need someone to negotiate for you, to help walk you through the contract so you know what the heck you're signing. This is a legal document that is binding you to a major purchase. You need someone that's going to help you and walk you through that so you know. I'm really big about that with my clients. Like, we reading over this and you're gonna know every single paragraph and what it is that you are signing your initials to. That is so important, right? And then on top of that, most of the time buyers agents are free. There's no reason for you not to get an agent to assist you with all of these things because they're free. Typically, real estate agent commissions are paid on the seller end. The seller negotiates with their agent who lists their house for a commission percentage. Once the house is sold, the listing agent will take that commission and basically either probably split it in half or split it, depending on what it is. They'll split it in half and give it to the buying agent, and that is how the buying agent gets paid. Buyers typically don't have to pay for anything unless you work something out with your particular agent. If your agent has maybe a standard percentage and they don't necessarily get that on the particular house that you choose. But for the most part, buying agents are free to buyers. Like, that's just a free resource to make sure you are protected and well represented throughout the entire process. So there's no reason whatsoever that you should not be getting an agent at all, right? Right. So I would say with all of these tips, if you've got questions, I am happy to answer them. Feel free to comment below if you have any thoughts that come to mind. Also, I want to link, I have a Calendly link. If you want to schedule a consultation and actually have like a quick conversation about this, I'm happy to do that. I would love to connect with you and chat with you and give you any insight that will help bring some clarity to the situation for you. So that is all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it was informative, and I hope it's kind of helping you as you're pulling your things together to get ready to be a homeowner. So I will talk to you guys next week. Much love, take care, and talk to you later.